Welcome to About a Song with Smith and Calvert,
a 12-episode weekly video podcast where we play one of our songs, talk about how it was written, songwriting, and life.
Hope you enjoy.
$10 an hour is all it takes. He gets there early and he stays late. Only got a minute, 5:59. You don't wanna go home when it's quitting time. Silverado, rev it up and get out of your head. Silverado, come quicker, heart's beating too fast. I see the red lights flashing over the hill. Silverado, you better fly. You had your pick, could always catch a night, but the one you love loves getting high. It's hard to get ahead between the credit cards and the rent, and your heart's broke too from the love you spent. Silverado, rev it up and get out of your head. Silverado, come quicker, heart's beating too fast. I see the red lights flashing over the hill. Silverado, you better fly. Wacko's talking, you just stare. She took more than her heart could bear. Years turned to minutes, 5:59. I should have given more, but I can't give time. It's Silverado, rev it up and get out of your head. It's Silverado, come quicker, heart's beating too fast. I see the red lights flashing over the hill. I see the red lights flashing over the hill. I see the red lights flashing over the hill. Silverado, you better fly.
Hi, this is Michael Smith.
And my name is Leah Calvert. Welcome to About a Song with Smith and Calvert. This is, I believe, our 8th episode.
We're just going to call this another episode in case we're wrong, but we do think it's 8.
Yep.
We start getting to these lofty numbers like 8, you can lose track.
What? Yeah.
But we're getting close. We're getting closer to the end, which is a cool thing.
This song is Silverado.
That's true. So this song is a song that Leah was the lead writer on. But before that, we'll talk about our wine of the night. Tonight, I brought this. This is Ken Wright Cellars Pinot Noir Willamette Valley 2019. So Leah got me into these Willamette Valleys Pinots, and they're very, very good. What was your first thought of this one?
Just drinkable.
Yeah.
It's just exceptional for... I love a wine like this for summer, especially where you can just hang out with it.
Yeah, although this is a hefty one for a Pinot.
Yeah.
They're still not that hefty in the big scheme, but for a Pinot, it's big.
Mm-hmm.
My thought is it is extremely good. So first of all, it's a great wine. It's real big on the front and not that long on the back, and I kind of like a long finish, like in a perfect world, but still, it's really good. I really like it a lot.
But that's why they make Basil Hayden. So that if you want
maybe
a long finish.
maybe on our last one of these we'll have a Basil Hayden instead of wine.
Our next round of episodes will be will be whiskeys.
It could be whiskeys. On the next one we'll just bring in whiskeys. Okay. So why don't you start off and talk a little bit about the song?
Yeah, Silverado. So it's interesting to note that my other job in life is building houses. And not surprisingly, as a songwriter, I pull a lot from the experience of that. Building stuff is, people are always like, oh, you write music and you build houses? Those things are really different. I'm like, no, they're actually very similar, because you're making something and creating something and watching it grow. So this particular song actually was, the idea came from a pretty sad story from a friend of mine who I worked with. And his wife at the time was one of the many souls that's been lost to the opioid crisis. And so the song was kind of started off with that and that notion, and I kind of put it away. I never could make it really work. Maybe it was because the content was too heavy, or maybe it was just because the content was kind of heavy.
Content.
Yeah, it's heavy content. And how do you, how do you approach that without, sometimes you need another set of ears to really to get out what you're trying to say. And so I think that was in 2012 where I was or 2013.
Yeah.
And we had you and I had done a version of it with our friend Jason Kenny, who runs Banjyland Music.
Well, actually, it was Banji. It was you, your husband Tommy, and him that had done.
Yeah,
the version.
That's right. Yeah, and we had done the version with Jason we'd recorded
2012. Yeah. So what happened was, we finished a bunch of tunes, and we were kind of wanting the next group of songs to work on, and so I was going through my head and thinking of all the old songs that had never been finished. And I called you and I was like, whatever happened to that song Silverado? I had loved it back in the day. We never could finish it, couldn't get anywhere. And you were like, well, let me see what I've got. And you sent back this version that you and Jason and Tommy had done. I was like, oh my God, it's so much more together than I thought. Like, musically, it was great. It was there. And but it needed to work on the lyrics. Like, there was the chorus wasn't quite perfect. The melody was perfect, but the words weren't quite fully making sense. And so so I grabbed it and I was like, oh man, we can do this quickly. And so we really hit it hard, and we finished where we are now in a pretty short amount of time. And this is another one we haven't played in, I don't know, 6 months, because as we've been working through all these things, like you just do a song and then a song, and you don't play all the other 15 songs.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised when we actually went through it today that it came together so quickly, just because.
Yeah, so the Silverado part was about, because the guy drove a truck.
Yeah, I mean, we're in construction. We drive trucks. And and then there's another, kind of, the whole thought of it is sort of based in this notion, I spent when I was really working construction before pandemic stuff, I was in my Tacoma all the time.
Yeah.
And that's where I wrote. And it's actually really funny. I was listening to a podcast with Tim Ferriss not long ago, and I can't remember who the author was, but he was interviewing some author, and he was citing some statistic. And I was really pleased to hear this. He was citing some statistic. Apparently, some magazine in LA had done this query on where the most common places where writers write, these 10 writers, and 3 of them, the most common place to write was in your car while driving. And I was like, oh, that's such a relief, because I really thought, I was like, I'm alone.
Well, and you put yourself in that, right? So this is song's about a real person, right?
Yeah.
And the story is embellished or whatnot, but it's about a real person. But the lyric is Silverado, rev it up and get out of your head, and that's really you.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have a Silverado, but it's like being in a truck.
Yeah.
And that's a way for you to get out of the hard things that are going in your life. So you kind of took your personal thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And a little bit put it on this person.
Absolutely.
That's how writing goes. I will say this, if you don't want to have songs written about you, don't be close with a songwriter, because it's just happening. Every song we write is about someone. A lot of times they don't know it, but a lot of them are about people.
Every single song, everyone is my muse. No one is...
you're not safe.
No one is safe.
If you're my friend, you're not... Now, the good thing is you may not realize it's about you.
No, but I got such a big mouth that I can't help but tell you sometimes.
Well, the other one about this one is cool. So this is like an example of how you use your the muse, and how you kind of borrow or steal ideas. So one of the things about this is, so it's about a woman who had had a drug problem. And so at the end of it, like I was like, well, how are we going to go through this? And so I came up with this idea of, well, what if she did die. And so I was like, well, what if a doctor came and told you this? And it was the issue of like, it's like this white coat talking and you just stare. That's about being with a doctor. The idea came from this killer Paul Simon song I love called Darling Lorraine, which is a gorgeous, beautiful song, and it takes you through a lot of different emotions. But at the end of it, the doctor walks up, but he's not smiling, and he has bad news. And that has always stuck with me. And so this is, chance for me, it's me to use that little, it's not the same, but that's where that idea came from for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, yeah. So that is Silverado.
That's totally Silverado.
Yeah. So we'll be back in another week for
with another episode.
Potentially episode 9, but if I'm wrong, just kind of deal with it.
Yeah. Don't know the song, but I do know the place.
That's right. Bye.
Bye.